Do you know the story of the Rockefeller Standard, the secret meetings that created the world's first billionaire? The story begins in the mid-19th century, deep in the shadows of an industrializing America, where the smell of crude oil and the sound of heavy iron machinery defined the landscape of Cleveland, Ohio. John D. Rockefeller was not yet the titan we remember today, but a young man with a terrifyingly focused mind and a ledger book that he treated like a sacred text. While the rest of the world saw the Pennsylvania oil rush as a chaotic gamble, Rockefeller saw a divine blueprint for order. He believed that competition was a sin and that the only way to achieve true power was through a secret synchronization of interests that would eventually be known as the Standard. The legend whispers of a series of clandestine gatherings held in the late 1860s, far from the prying eyes of the public or the fledgling government regulators. These meetings didn't take place in grand ballrooms, but in the dimly lit, smoke-filled back rooms of nondescript hotels in Cleveland and New York. Rockefeller would invite the heads of the largest railroad companies, men who controlled the very veins of American commerce, to sit across from him. The atmosphere was always heavy with the scent of expensive cigars and the cold, damp air of the Great Lakes. Rockefeller, with his pale skin and unwavering gaze, would speak in a low, rhythmic tone, convincing these giants that they were all losing money by fighting each other. He proposed a standard way of doing business that would essentially hold the entire nation's economy hostage. The tension in those rooms was palpable as the railroad moguls realized what was being asked of them. Rockefeller wanted secret rebates, discounts on shipping his oil that no one else would receive, and even drawbacks, where the railroads would pay him a fee for every barrel of oil his competitors shipped. It was a deal signed in the dark, a pact that ensured Rockefeller's oil would always be cheaper, effectively suffocating any independent refiner who dared to operate in the light. One particular night in 1872, during the height of what became known as the South Improvement Company scheme, the air turned freezing as the men realized they were creating a ghost in the machine of American capitalism. Rockefeller reportedly sat in silence, his fingers steepled, watching the flickering candlelight reflect in the eyes of men who were signing away the free market. As the Standard Oil Trust grew, so did the mystery surrounding Rockefeller's personal life. People began to notice that he seemed to know things before they happened, as if he had a map of the future laid out in those secret meetings. The Standard wasn't just a business, it was a shadow government. In the small towns of Pennsylvania, local oilmen woke up to find their livelihoods vanished overnight, replaced by a cold, efficient blue barrel stamped with the Standard logo. The local workers, deeply patriotic and hard-working, felt a sense of dread as they realized the American dream was being consolidated into a single bank account. There were rumors that Rockefeller used a network of spies and informants to track every move of his rivals, turning the industrial heartland into a chessboard where he was the only player with all the pieces. The climax of this legend occurred during the final, most secretive meeting held at a secluded estate in the Hudson Valley. By this point, Rockefeller was on the verge of becoming the world's first billionaire. But the pressure from the public and the courts was mounting. Legend says he stood before his inner circle and revealed the true scale of his ambition, to control not just the oil, but the light itself. He spoke of a world where every lamp burned his fuel and every wheel turned with his grease. The men in that room felt a chill that had nothing to do with the winter wind outside. They realized that they hadn't just built a company, they had birthed a new kind of power that could never be fully dismantled, a legacy of influence that would outlive them all. In the end, Standard Oil was broken up by the Supreme Court, but the mystery of the Standard remained. Rockefeller retired to his vast estates, becoming a recluse who handed out dimes to children while his shadow continued to loom over the global economy. The secret meetings had done their work, creating a blueprint for the modern corporate world that remains hidden in plain sight. Even today, as you walk past the towering skyscrapers of New York or the rusted refineries of the Midwest, you can almost hear the echoes of those hushed voices from a century ago deciding the fate of billions behind closed doors. The Rockefeller Standard wasn't just about money, it was about the dark art of total control, leaving behind a legacy that still keeps the world in a state of quiet, uneasy wonder. Have you ever heard the story of the Rockefeller Standard, the secret meetings that created the world's first billionaire? Leave it in the comments and also put the city where you are listening to this fascinating story.